For 15 years, the general's legs were bound to a wheelchair, until one soldier, a newcomer with nothing to lose, stepped up and did what everyone else thought was impossible. A bold step that would change her life forever. Before we get started, tell us in the comments, what time is it where you're watching from? Also, don't forget to strike that like and subscribe button. Let's dive in. Private Turner, step aside. He doesn't need help. The voice was firm, but Mia didn't budge. She remained kneeling in the soft grass, her hands gripping the tension straps of the general's knee brace with precise control. Calm, steady, unshakable. Around her, the soldiers froze. Eyes wide, mouths silent, unsure of what was unfolding before them. General James Harrison, silver-haired, his face carved from stone, sat motionless in his wheelchair. His dark navy uniform was immaculate, but his posture rigid, betraying years of unspoken pain. His hands rested on his thighs as still as the rest of him, and his expression? Unreadable. The whispers were inevitable. Everyone knew the story. 15 years ago, during a covert operation overseas, his convoy was ambushed. Medics had said it was a miracle he'd survived. His spine shattered beyond repair. The prognosis was simple. The chair was his life now. No recovery. No hope. But Private First Class Mia Turner? She hadn't read him like a legend or a casualty of war. She read him like a man, and men, no matter their scars, could still be moved. I reviewed your files, she murmured softly, her fingers expertly adjusting the strap. Your scans, the scar tissue, the surgeries. The general's voice was cold, a sharp reminder of who he was. You had no clearance to do that. I had need, she replied, her words slicing through the tension. A wave of murmurs rolled through the soldiers, but Mia didn't flinch. She just kept working, her focus unwavering. What was happening here was more than just a physical adjustment. It was a challenge to the very limits of what was believed possible. And in that moment, Mia Turner wasn't just fixing a knee brace. She was changing the course of history. Mia was young, barely in her mid-20s, with a slim frame and black hair pulled back tightly under her cap. Her camel-colored fatigues were crisp and new, boots untouched by the wear of time. No rank, no stripes, just the intensity in her eyes that refused to look away. She was a private, but that didn't seem to matter in that moment. The general's gaze hardened. You think I haven't been examined by the best? Sir, she responded, her voice calm but firm. Sometimes the best just get tired of trying. The general's eyes narrowed, a spark of irritation flickering. I haven't. He held her stare, a quiet fire smoldering in his chest. You're out of line, soldier. But Mia's hands never left the knee brace she was adjusting. With all due respect, sir, your gluteus and quad muscles still show some residual activity. It's minimal, yes, but it's there. Your lower motor neurons are still firing. There's a pathway. Weak, but it's alive. He blinked, disbelief creeping into his expression. That wasn't something any of his doctors had dared to say in years. They had stopped speaking of hope long ago, settling instead for managing pain, medication, and logistics. No one had mentioned possibility in over a decade. Mia wasn't done. You've built your life around that chair. I get it. You've led from it, commanded from it, earned your medals from it. But, she paused, tightening the final strap. You haven't finished what your body wants to do. A long silence settled between them. The sound of push-ups and cadets barking drills continued in the background, but here in this corner of the field, everything else seemed to fade away. The general's jaw clenched. His hands tightened on his thighs. You think I haven't tried to stand? I think you haven't tried again, Mia replied, her voice unwavering. Not since the last time someone told you to stop hoping. For the first time, she looked him straight in the eye. That someone wasn't me. The general's breathing deepened, steady but heavy. You presume a lot for a private. And in that moment it was clear. Mia wasn't just questioning his body, she was questioning his will. And maybe, just maybe, she was about to change everything. She stood, not with arrogance, but with quiet determination. "I was a neuro rehab tech before I enlisted," she said. "My unit specialized in retraining damaged systems. I've seen limbs move after years of silence. I've seen spines respond when every scan said no." He scoffed. "And you think my spine will listen to you?" "I think your mind already has," she replied. "Your body's just waiting for permission." Her words weren't cocky. They weren't a challenge. They were simply the truth. And it struck him harder than any speech he'd heard since the injury. He wanted to dismiss her, to brush her off like the others. But her calm steadiness held him in place. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She hadn't asked for attention. She just quietly stepped in and touched a part of him he'd long buried, the part that remembered wanting to walk not for anyone's approval but for his own. She glanced at the brace. "We can try static stand therapy with parallel bars. 30 seconds a day just bearing pressure. Then we'll see." He looked away. "You don't know what it feels like to fall in front of a room of soldiers who once saluted you." "I do," she said, her voice softer now. "Not physically, but I know what it's like to be ignored, to be told not to bother. I've been dismissed my whole life." He turned back, meeting her eyes. She nodded toward the gym. "Give me 30 days. If I fail, you'll never hear from me again." He studied her, every instinct telling him to protect what was left of his pride. But deep inside, something was shifting. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. Instead, with the field watching in silence, he nodded once. Private Mia Turner grabbed her bag and walked away. That nod, though, was the first step. The next morning, just after 0600, General Harrison wheeled himself into the rehabilitation wing of the base gym. The place had been unused since his injury, the equipment covered in dust like forgotten memories. No one greeted him, not out of disrespect, but because no one expected him to come, except one person. Private First Class Mia Turner was ready, sleeves rolled up, bars clean, tension cords unpacked, her focus absolute. No salute when he entered. She'd been told not to. "The braces are ready," she said, nodding at the parallel bars. 30 seconds. That's the goal today." The general said nothing. He locked his chair in place. Mia moved swiftly, attaching stabilizers with precision. Her hands were sure, her voice calm. "If anything feels wrong, let me know." "It already does," he muttered, but let her lift him anyway. With her arm around his back, the braces locked his knees in place. He gripped the bars, Mia standing close, anchoring him like a pillar. "Shift your weight," she whispered. His arms trembled, pain flashing across his face. He didn't say a word. She saw it. "Breathe," she urged. Seconds passed, 10, then 20. No cheers, no counting. Just steady breathing. At 30 seconds, she leaned closer. "Now sit, sir." He collapsed back into the chair, sweat pouring, not from effort but from facing the fear in his spine. Mia knelt in front of him. "You did it." He stared at his legs. "I didn't move." "You stood," she said, loosening the straps. "You bore your own weight. Your body remembered." Day after day they met. Some mornings were harder than others. There were days when pain flared, when sleep didn't come, when frustration made him curse under his breath. And through it all, she said nothing. Just handed him a towel and helped him try again. Slowly, 30 seconds turned into a minute, then 2. By week 3, his hands weren't trembling as much. He could shift his weight. On day 21, Mia stepped back just a bit further and watched as he stabilized without her touch. That night, alone in his quarters, General Harrison stared at his reflection. His face was leaner, his shoulders sharper. But it wasn't his body that surprised him, it was his eyes. There was life in them again. Not pride, not vanity, just presence. By week 4 they stopped tracking time. They started counting steps. 2 steps on day 1, clumsy and assisted. Then 4, then 6. One morning, Mia walked into the gym to find the braces already on. Harrison stood by the bars, waiting. She blinked. "You're late, Private," he said with a smirk. "Sir, I've been here. Just watching." That day he took 10 steps between the bars. The gym staff, once indifferent, paused their workouts, glancing over. A few even clapped quietly. Word spread. By the end of the month, they held a small ceremony on the same patch of grass where it all began. The soldiers expected another promotion pinning. Instead, they watched in stunned silence as General Harrison rolled forward, locked his wheels and stood, no bars, no cords, just his cane in Mia's hand. He took one step forward, turned toward the men and saluted. Silence blanketed the field. Then it broke. Cheers erupted louder than any graduation. Some soldiers wept. Others chanted his name. But Harrison's gaze stayed on one person, Mia. He stepped toward her, handed her his cane and stood tall, shaky but proud. "You didn't just help me stand," he said. "You reminded me who I was before the chair." She nodded. He was always there, just waiting for permission. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small medal. "Civilians don't know this one," he said, his voice tight. "It's awarded to soldiers who restore something broken." He pinned it to her chest. "Not my body," he added, his voice cracking, "but my will." She fought back tears, but her voice remained steady. "I didn't come to fix you. I came to remind you that you weren't finished." They stood together, soldier and commander, two figures from different worlds, united not by rank but by conviction. Behind them, a field full of men stood taller, prouder. They had witnessed the impossible. Not a man walking again, but a man choosing to. If you felt the impact of this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected journeys. We'd love to know where in the world you're watching from. Drop a comment below. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.